Hey guys, it's one of those days, it's raining outside and what is better to do than make another SMITE tier list, okay? So we're gonna start with some popular items. Okay, so let's see, where is tips? Okay, let's start. So we have tips. Tips is one of the most overrated items in SMITE because most people only look at the final stats. They don't look, how long it take you to get those stats. The problem with this item is that it's very slow item. You need 10 minutes to stack it, and in this time you can already lose your early game, and early game is probably the most important part of Conquest. Your early, mid and late game, because it's a snowbally game mode. The small early lead can lead to huge late game lead. Okay, this is how Conquest is designed, and it's probably good or a bad thing, depending how you take it. But this item is averagely or maybe a bit more expensive. It has pretty good stats, especially once you stack it, and protection aura is actually really good to counter flat pin item rush. Flat pin item, flat penetration items has been meta for a very, very long time because flat penetration is really strong in early to mid game. But still, this item is very slow. You only get, those protections and stats once you stack it. So we can compare it to Sovereignty, for example. Sovereignty was always a really good item, okay? Because most Conquest teams have 3 physical gods, and you can go Watcher's Gift starter item, let's see, Watcher's Gift. Okay, Watcher's Gift. This has been pretty much a staple support starter, okay, in Conquest. And then you go Sovereignty, and it's really good, because those 15 protections early game are very strong, even though this item got a bit nerfed over the time, but this item is still very good. And tips is going to stay in B tier, because yes, it has good stats once you stack it, but it's very slow item, and Conquest is all about pressure and power spikes, and this item has 0 of that. On top of that, the aura is pretty bad, okay? So let's move to the next popular items. Let's see, where is Shogun Kuzari? Okay, now this item is probably S tier. Why? Not only it has really, really good stats and pretty decent price, it's also probably the best aura in the whole game. So if you play support or even if you play warrior, you have to get this aura, Sovereignty tips, it's good, yeah, like I say, flat pin items were meta for a long time, but lately we got some high risk balanced items, like Gladiator Shield. This item didn't need a buff, but they still buff it for some reason. So if you play a warrior, you can just go Glad Shield, Shogun Kuzari. You don't even need flat pin item, because you get so much stats and good auras that, So yeah, this is probably pretty good, okay? Shogun Kuzari, very good item. Okay, next we have Witchblade. Let's see, where is our Witchblade? There's so many items, god damn it, man. This will take a time. This will take some time. I need to find, okay, let's go Witchblade. Okay, Witchblade is S or S plus tier, probably S plus tier. Not only is very cheap item and it has very good stats, but also really good aura. Now this is why these two items are S tier. Not only they have really good stats, but they have really good aura. And when one item has both of these, this is S tier item, okay? Witchblade is also really good counter, not only against gods that use basic attacks, like any hunter or whatever, but also gods that use that animation cancel a lot, like Susano. This is really good counter, okay? Okay, I need to drink. So the meta lately is actually Witchblade Rush. You can go Watcher Gift, Sovereignty, Witchblade, Shogun Kuzari, and this is probably the best build you can get. And Witchblade and Shogun also gives you cooldown, so then you can also add Valor, for example, and you have maximum cooldown, okay? Valor is a bit more expensive, but if you combine Witchblade, Shogun Kuzari and Valor, you have maximum cooldown, 40%, and you have two best auras in the game, okay? But Valor is still really good. That mana is actually also really important, cooldown and physical protection. This is also very good hybrid item, just like Witchblade on a carries, you know. If you play against 3 physical teams, you can just buy Valor and you get physical protection and 20% cooldown, so you don't need to buy cooldown on other items, okay? You wanna combine stats, you know, not really items, but you wanna have good stats, you know, and you have to worry about power spikes, you know. In Conquest, you usually go, you know, if you play carry, you go 2 power spike items. For example, let's see, we have these 3, this, and this, okay? So these are your typical flat pin items, you know. Jotun's Wrath for cooldown, the Crusher, attack speed, and anti-heal. Now, these 3 items are really good. So if you play carry in Conquest, you can always go, you know, the Crusher or Jotun's early game, and you will have really good clear. Because once you buy Jotun's, for example, you can start clearing the wave in like 2 abilities, you know, and you can just snowball from that. That's why, you know, there is another very similar item to Tapes, Transcendence, okay? These 2 items, okay, sure, they are probably good in late game, you know, and even in late game they suck, you know, but they are very slow. If you have a carry who go Jotuns or the Crusher versus a carry who go Transcendence, you will outclear him any game, you know. You will just snowball from early to mid game and that's it, you know. These items are probably really overrated, you know, and usually picked by those Conquest SPL pros who never played against good supports that actually know how to build good auras, or players that actually understand the meta, the power spikes, the pressure, you know, the team fights and so on. Now let's continue. Ankle is decent item, the aura is quite good, the stats are okay, it's a bit expensive, it's not really that good anymore. This item is good on certain gods like basic attack gods, but you know, let's go to the one of the most underrated starter item, Warding Sigil, okay? This starter item is just insanely good, insane good stats. If you play warrior, you know, you just go Warding Sigil into flat pin item and you will have extreme tankiness because of Warding Sigil in early game, and then you have really good power spike because of a flat pin item, you know. So yeah, this is what you go, and then you can combine it with Witchblade, with Shogun, you know, you see Warding Sigil, Jotuns, Witchblade, Shogun, Valor or Void Shield. And this is your full build basically, and it's very good, you know, very good. You don't need Valor because you get cooldown from Jotuns, you know, for example, and so on. So let's do this, Void Shield is actually really strong aura. This is probably also one of the underrated items, especially in most Conquest games. You know, most Conquest games have 3 physical gods, while most arena games have 3 magical gods. If you play warrior in Conquest, you usually wanna get this item in late game. 15% penetration for your physical penetration for your whole team is huge, okay? Also, Executioner. Where is Executioner? People really underestimate Executioner too. Let's see. Yeah. This item gives you almost 30% physical penetration for your whole team. That's the point, you know. Even Atlanta Bow has really good stats, you know. Atlanta Bow has really good stats, insanely good stats. But Executioner, if you play with 3 physical gods, you know, or against, if you play against 3 physical gods, you can get Virginity or Witchblade. If you have 3 physical gods on your team, you can get Shogun Kuzari, Void Shield, and Executioner, and these are huge items. If you have, you know, at least 3 gods that you know, have physical damage, okay. And when it comes to buffing your team, Stone of Binding. Stone of Binding is probably better tips, you know. Is cheaper, it has good stats, and you have flat protection reduction, and that is really good in early game, just like flat pin items, you know. So yeah, there is also a meta build you can go, you know. in early, you know, physical protection is usually more important. So you go Witchblade and so in Stone of Binding, and if you go Witchblade and Stone of Binding, you have 60 protections, which is actually quite good. And these items are very cheap, so you can go Watcher Gift, Stone of Binding, Witchblade, and maybe Winged Blade, and then this is very cheap build, you know, and you will have 4 items when they have 2 or 3 items, you know. You can even skip Stone of Binding, because there are many, yeah, that's a bit a problem with Stone of Binding, because there are other good items like Virginity, Witchblade, Shogun Kuzari, you know, but this item is still very good. And yeah, Atlanta Bow, pretty balanced stats, you know. Okay, this has been pretty staple item for mages. This item is a bit expensive, but it has pretty good stats actually. This item has really good stats. I think pin, cooldown, you know, pretty good, but it's a bit expensive though. So when we look at the items, we look at the price tag, we look at the stats we get and what aura and so on we get, you know. Oh my god. Okay, next we have Asi. Asi has pretty good stats, you know, if you combine it with like crit items, but it has low power and it's a bit more expensive now. Back in the days it was more cheaper, but this is still pretty good item, I think, you know. Really good for sustain, for some stats, you know. Even though these days most AD carry items already have everything, like Atlanta Bow, you know, 20% attack speed, 20% pin, you know, like, come on, Hi-Res. Okay, Bancroft has always been a staple item, you know. Really good power, good mana, good lifesteal. If you play mage, you know, in any game mode, you usually go Bancroft or you go flat pin item, like for example Divine Ruin. Yeah, we have Divine Ruin. What else do we have? Yeah, this. Okay, these are flat pin items, and this is pretty much meta. You know why? Especially, you know, if you play mage and you're gonna go book, or you are gonna go Eternal Staff, or this, where is that book item? Yes, this Warlock Staff. The problem with these items, you know, especially those stacking items, is they're very slow. If you go first item, stacking item, you have a high chance you're gonna fall behind compared to any mage that go flat pin item, you know. That's why flat pin items are always been meta. And you can combine flat pin items with survival items like Warlord or Witchblade or Winged Blade for some survival, you know. Because if you survive, you buy time for your team and you can do more damage in the long run. And Conquest is about power spike, Arena is about cooldown, auras, counter building and resetting fights, and Conquest is about getting resources and effective play and good calls and so on. Eternal Staff got a little bit more buff, so I'll put it higher. The book is really good on Kukulkan, you know. You can, if you play Kukulkan, you just throw your tornado and you can go book first item and then you can go poly or something like that. This item is pretty solid, you know, really good for boxing. This item got, you know, it still has a really good stats, but you know, some other items are just over buffed, you know, and that's why this item is here. Vampiric Shroud, okay, I mean, the gem has better burst and the other cooldown starter has cooldown, so it's better, you know. Where is it? I'm not sure. Bloodforge has been a staple item. Yes, it's expensive, but it's a really good power spike, a really good snowball passive, you know. You can go typical, you know, good AD carry build would be like Bloodforge, Executioner, Crit, you know, but it's a bit more expensive. And now we have Atlanta Bow and all these other balance items, you know, so maybe fall behind a little bit, you know, but yeah, we already have gym there, so we're just gonna put it, I don't know, like here. This book is decent, but there are better items, like if you need mana, you can go Valor, you know. Bulwark of Hope got buffed, it's pretty good, but it's still, when you have Shogun Kuzari, you know, you never go Bulwark of Hope or Genji Guard. Where is Genji Guard? This is where every time I watch SPL games, I cringe when I see Genji Guard. Where is that item? Yeah, here. Genji Guard is basically worse Shogun Kuzari. Shogun Kuzari has better stats and way better aura, you know. You know, this also it's similar with Void Shield, you know. So let's continue. This item pretty good. I didn't buy it many times. This item sadly got removed, you know, Reboomba Mask. It was one of the most fun items in the games, but Harris hates fun, so they remove it and they rather make they rather buffed Gladiator Shield, you know, because Harris balanced. Boomba Mask, I mean, this spear is actually good in jungle, right? You wanna put some we need some space, you know, there. Okay, this is also one of the when I see this is same item as Genji Guard, you know, like it's not even good, but in SPL games, in SMITE Championship, they still buy it every fucking game because they don't know how to build properly. You know, this item is really good. Also the anti-heal meta, you know, and it has really bad stats, you know, and it's quite expensive. So yeah, bad stats, very counterable. So yeah, this is decent item, but not that good, you know. I never see people buy this. But when you need magical power and when you need physical protection, this item is pretty decent. 20% pin on this item is pretty good. When you need that pin to shred tanks, you know, it's very good. But you usually wanna go cooldown first, you know. Cooldown is very important, you know. Once you reach that 30 or 40% cooldown, it is just huge, you know, it's so huge. Chronos Peanut is a bit expensive, but is, you know, core mage item. Yeah, you can, some even buy it on Guardians, but it's not really good on Guardians. You need on Guardians you need to get good auras and cooldown, and you can get Witchblade, you can get Shogun, you can get Valor, so Virginity, Contagion. Yeah, let's see, Contagion is actually really good aura. When you need physical protection and anti-heal, this is what you pick. And usually, if you see my build, okay, let's see, we go Watcher Gifts Virginity, and then we usually go physical protection, magical, physical, magical, you know. So we go Shogun, and then we can go Contagion, for example. It's a really good item, anti-heal is always good, you know. But it's a late game item, you know, because first you have to buy other items like Witchblade, Shogun, and so on, so Virginity, and so on. Okay, let's put this here, let's put this here. Deathbringer is pretty good, especially the upgraded version that gives you slow. Some genius decided to put slow on a fucking Deathbringer, like, what the hell? But it's still, but I'm still not putting it higher because it's a bit, it's an expensive item, you know, and when the meta is fast, you can't really buy expensive items. And that goes for Valor especially, you know, Valor is actually really good, but it's quite expensive and it's slow, you know. Okay, we have some these, you know, starter items are pretty okay. Okay, this is also one of those items that never got nerfed. This item is actually quite insane, especially on mages like Freya, you know, or attack speed like Soul. And this item can actually work really well even on Guardians, because your basic attacks reduce enemy magical protection, which buffs your whole team. This item is probably really good in arena, where you have double mage composition. And if you pick this, you know, you reduce enemy magical protection by like almost 30%, and you combine it with Shogun attack speed, and it's really insanely good. This item is also really underrated. I'm gonna put it higher actually. This is that demonic grip, right? Yes. We have glow. Glow is decent items, but it's slow. It has similar problem like tips or transcendence. It's actually quite good once you stack it, but you risk you risk getting behind if you learn again. If you compare, you know, people also underestimate ability hunters, you know, like Muzenkap, Shibalanki. You know, usually people do mistake on Shibalanki and level up their second ability, but you have to level up his third ability. You gain bonus damage on poisoned targets. And if you're gonna learn against Shibalanki with this glow, and Shibalanki has Bluestone and Jotuns or the Crusher, he gonna outclear you, because he has way better power spike, and his clear is insane and his poke is insane, and you're still stacking your item, you know. This is what Conquest pros need to learn. Power spike, pressure, you know. Yeah, okay, let's go this bomb. This item is pretty decent. Good pin, you know. This item is okay. It's some movement speed, it's nothing special. You don't get cooldown or pin, what you really need on a mage. Emperors, I mean, this item never get picked. It has no good stats, no good aura, you know. It's just good stats and pretty poor, I mean, decent stats and pretty poor aura. This item, yeah, okay, yeah, this item is similar to this one. This item actually got buffed. Really good stats now. Cooldown, I think, pin. I think I actually mixed these two items, you know, but this item is actually quite good now. If you cooldown, pin, you know, really good stats. A bit more expensive, but good stats. Frostbound Hammer, haven't seen this item in a while. It's probably still good. But the thing is, you know, there are just better items. That's the problem, you know. When you have Gladiator Shield, when you have Shogun or Witchblade in the game, you know, why would you buy something else, right? And this is the problem with balance, you know. But you know, I don't blame any of you, because even those guys at SPL championship level don't know how to build properly. And that's because we lack a good caster who actually understand meta, who actually criticize people builds, you know, and so on. We like the competitive spirit and rivalry in SMITE community, even though it's one of the best games ever, with, you know, one of the best action combat, one of the best social system. But they need to fix UI, they need to bring old fun game modes back, and they need to add ranked leaderboard and rewards for arena, yeah, blah blah blah. I talk always about this, but Harris clearly don't listen. Game of ISO is a bit expensive. It's pretty good. It got nerfed a bit. It's not that good anymore. It's too expensive. I think that's the problem with this item. Golden, yeah, I mean, this item is pretty meta in Conquest. On some junglers, they go this item first, you know. I never really buy it, you know. I usually go flat pin items, but this item I think is still very good. Golden Blade, Horus, baby. Fatalis, you know, we have Hastened Ring now. It's actually a staple item on gods like Freya. If you play Freya, the problem with Freya is that you have to buy so many items to make her work. You have to get Demonic Grip, you have to get Hastened Ring, and you also have to get Fatalis, okay? Ne Fatalis, Winged Blade, okay? I'm not gonna put Winged Blade in SS tier, but S tier, you know? This item is one of the best counter items against ganks in Conquest. It has really good survival stats. And this passive allows you to juke anybody in this game. When you combine Winged Blade and Witchblade, you can juke anyone in this game. And this is probably really good strong items. Probably very underrated, you know. I'm not sure if I'm gonna put Winged in S tier. Why? S plus tier. Because if you buy it early in Conquest, you can fall behind, right? You have to go flat pin item first. But this item can go in any carry build, and it will make you extremely hard to kill if you know how to juke properly, you know. If you jungle against gods like Arachne, you just buy Winged Blade or Sprint Relic, which gives you slow immunity and sprint, and she will never be able to gank you again. Yes, I'm actually putting Winged Blade in S plus tier. These items deserve it. It's probably also really underrated item. Like, people actually buy fucking Genji Guard over Winged Blade or something like that. I will never understand that. This item is huge for juking, you know. It's pretty cheap, you know. There is also a really cheap Guardian build you can go. You can go Watcher's Gift for early sustain. You can go Witchblade for physical protection, good stats and good aura, and then you go Winged Blade. So you can play very aggressively and never be caught off position. Especially important on guardians like Ymir who lack mobility, you know. And they're very cheap items. But you also have to get cooldown. You have to get, you know, the problem with Winged Blade is that you have to get Shogun first, you know. Shogun is so much better, you know. I usually buy it in late game, late game, or maybe, yeah, combine it with Witchblade. The thing is, it's, you know, there are also many good magical protection items. You have Shogun Kozari, and you have Runic Shield. Where is Runic Shield? Yeah, Runic Shield is also really underrated on a warrior. If you play warrior against 3 magical gods, you get Runic Shield. But yeah, as I can say, you can get Winged Blade, you can get Shogun. There are many good magical protection items, so yeah. Voidstone is really good, especially in arena. If you play with double mage, you know, you get Voidstone, you know. But it's not S plus tier, you know, it's not that good. Gladiator Shield is probably S plus tier, but let's put it here. Okay, next we have Hasten a Drink. It's a bit more expensive, only viable on a few gods. Demonic Grip is better, so yeah. This item is really good, especially on ability gods. You can play ability Shibalanki, you can go flat pin items, then you go Hydra, and then in late game you can go this item. It's really good. Where is my Hydra boy? Yeah. Hydra, where is Hydra? Okay, the Hydra is also S tier. It has no internal cooldown, it has cooldown. It's really insane on animation cancel gods like Susanna, you know, where you combine basic attacks and abilities for, you know, less downtime. Okay, I've almost forgot about talk about, but attack speed is actually really important because attack speed allows you to animation cancel faster. That's why the Crusher is really strong, you know. Jotuns is probably better in Arena, but the Crusher is probably better in Conquest. But that's also why Witchblade is S plus tier. If you reduce enemy attack speed, you increase enemy, you know, basic animation time, which means they will have harder time to animation cancel. That's why this item is S plus tier, you know, and it really deserves the spot. And Winget is here because it's really good counter item, really good survival juke item, you know, and Shogun is the best aura in the game, so yeah. Heartward Amulet is just bad, you know. It's like when you have Runic Shield, when you have Shogun in the game, like, you know. This is just starter. I put all the starters here mostly. Neiman Lion, you know. The problem with items like Neiman Lion or maybe these Hills or Genji guys is that I'm just not gonna focus you, you know. Usually warriors do mistake and they don't buy a single flat pin item, you know. At least go Glad Shield or Shogun, you know, or Void Shield. So you have some good auras, but if you don't go a single flat pin item on a warrior, you're gonna lose pressure, you're gonna lose, enemy will just ignore you. And that's the biggest weakness, that's the biggest fear of a Guardian support player, is that enemy will just ignore you and focus your allies. This cloak, you know, it's okay, but there are better items and it has not really good stats, you know. If we have, let's see, where is that cloak? Yeah, this item is better, way better, you know. It has both protection, it has crowd control reduction, I think, and it also has damage reduction, which is actually really good when you get CC'd, you know. You can add this on carry and you will be so much more survival, but Winged Blade is probably better pickup. This is probably really good, you know. This is way too many stats, you know. It's really good. And flat pin item second tier got nerfed, so yeah, this starter or Bluestone. Where is Bluestone? Bluestone is also really good for ability hunters. I'm a bit, I need to drink. Where is my Bluestone, man? I don't know, let's say this is Bluestone, okay. These two starter items are really good for carries, you know. Bluestone is good for ability hunters or even warriors, but warriors should probably go Warding Sigil starter. But this item has really good early stats, you know. Kaival, I remember when this item was best item in the game, but now it's just, there are also really good other good attack speed items, and it's not that good anymore. But there was a age when this item was one of the best items in the game. It was less than 2000 gold. It gives you like 50 or 60 power of a difference, you know. You get 25 power yourself and you reduce enemy power, and you also get 30% attack speed. So that 30% attack speed was so insane, you know, especially in, I mean, all stages of the game. This item is not that good. I mean, physical protection, you're better off with going, I think, so Virginity or Witchblade. But still pretty decent though. We have this cloak again, okay. We have Boomba Mask, nobody really buys this. Lotus Crown is maybe good on some guardians like Tira, you know. It's not that good, you have better items, you know. But you know, even though that protections you get is actually quite good in early to mid game, you know, it's not that bad. You have to look on the stages of the game. What item is good in early game, what item is good in mid game, and so on in late game. And you cannot be building, you know, too slow items early game, otherwise you will fall behind, you know, and never get to that late game build. A balloon is bad stats and easily counterable, you know, you can easily bait out. But it's pretty annoying item to deal with, that's true. This one of also similar item like, you know, Genji Guard or this heal item. I mean, anti-heal counters you too much, you don't get good aura, you don't get good stats, you know. That's the problem with these items, mostly in D tier and C tier. Or they're just too slow, you know. You have Malice is pretty okay. It's nothing special. Rage gives you more crit, that other crit items, let's see. Yeah, this one, for example, gives you just way more stats, you know. So why would I buy this, you know? It's okay, you know. Okay, we have this. This is really good. I think in the late game for burst, this item is really good. We have Mannequin. It's okay. Mannequin is actually really good on if you go Mannequin on Arachne in early game. It's just like you cannot box her, you know. Maybe sprint can save you so you can run away, but this item is insanely good for boxing, you know. Mental, if you have gold, this item gives you good stats, both protection, cooldown, and really good passive. It's okay, but it's very expensive, so it's a little bit lower, you know. Midgardian melee, I mean, Witchblade is just better, you know. Why would I buy Midgardian? And even if you buy Midgardian, nobody will really focus you anyway, so... Mystical Mail is not that insane like it was back in the days, I think, but probably still, if you go Mystical Mail Rush, maybe on Cuckoo or something, and stack passive, I'm not, maybe this item is really good. Obsidian, good pin, it's pretty okay. This bow, you know, most hunter items are pretty good, you know. But you have Atlanta bow is probably better, Executioner is better, the Crusher is actually got a bit more expensive, you know. But still pretty good, you know. This item, I mean, it has pretty good passive, I think, but the stats are not that good, and you don't get cooldown or good aura, and this is what you need on a Guardian or support player, you know. Maybe you can actually get this on a carry and actually be extremely tanky. This together with that cloak. Where is that cloak? Yeah. And you have insane damage reduction, yeah. Pretty good. Let's put this heal, another anti-heal item. This item is actually quite high tier because it has really good stats and really good aura, and it got buffed, you know, and you get like what, almost 100 magical protection. It's pretty insane, even though Shogun will be always better, you know. So you first get Shogun and later you can get Pestilence. Okay, this item is okay. Poly is good on few gods like Kukulkan, you know, for burst, or Sila. But you don't get cooldown or pain, that's the issue. But it's actually, on Kukulkan, this is core item, because you can combine your first ability and basic attack, and you can do that very quickly. And you have really strong burst, you know. Pridewin is also, I think, one of the overrated items. I mean, you get both protections and you get a lot of cooldown. It's really good because of that. The problem is, it's a bit more expensive, and the passive is actually really hard to proc, so it's not even that good of an item. And you only buy this item for the cooldown, basically, if you really need cooldown. But I mean, you can get cooldown from Witchblade, you can get cooldown from Shogun or Valor, you know. I mean, it's okay, you know, but it's not that good. Don't go Tips and Pridewin. There are way better items you can get as a support player. Okay, put this here. This item is decent, pretty good stats, but I think it likes cooldown, and you don't get flat pin either, so, you know. But it's still pretty decent, especially maybe in Assault or something. The Queen's Eye, good for shredding tanks, but quite expensive. Combine it maybe with Executioner, or maybe, I don't know, Asi, or... And then you have that Unicorn build, they call it, you know, Atlanta. A lot of attack speed, a lot of procs, you know, Executioner, Queen's Eye, and so on. Rage is actually quite good. If you need critical chance, you get Rage. 40% crit is the highest crit you can highest crit chance you can get. It's pretty good. You can combine it with the Deadbringer or this item and have really good crits, and then you just throw in Executioner or some lifesteal and you're good. This item, I'm not sure if it even exists anymore. This item, you know, it's okay, but But Winged Blade or Witchblade are just better, you know. That's the problem with this item. The relic cooldown reduction is quite good, you know. Let's also talk about the relic. Oh, I'm getting hungry. Meta relics. Beats and sprint relic, you know. Everybody, if you don't get beats, you're gonna get picked out by like something like Fenrir or something. You can also bait out enemy abilities with beats and amulet. In second relic, you usually wanna go sprint relic, or even first relic you can go sprint relic. Giving slow immunity to your team is huge in late game, or very good counter against gods like Arachne who engage with slow, you know. Hastened Ring is pretty good, especially on Freya or Soul. Pretty good stats. I mean, this item gets a little countered by anti-heal and out of healing in Conquest they implemented. It's not that good anymore. Probably go here. Road of Tahuti, I mean, good stats. Quite expensive. And you get some pin, yeah, which is quite good, but you don't really get cooldown. Still good, yeah, but it's probably still quite a core item for mages, yeah. Rune for Shammer is good, but not that good anymore. Maybe there might be meta for this item. I'm not sure. We have clock, we have this, okay. We have this. This item is... I think it's kinda good, you know. It's easy to proc his passive and kinda really good stats. You get 20% pin, like, dude. But you don't get much power, I think. Very stone cutting though. Stone cutting was always good. You get so many good stats. You get power, you get flat pin, you know, you get protection reduction. Especially good in early to mid game. You know, probably better than Executioner. Executioner is actually also still good, you know. Executioner is actually more of a support item because you give physical physical protection reduction to your whole team. Just like Void Shield. It is another crit item. It's probably pretty decent, I think. I'm not sure. Okay, this is we have Shield of Regrowth, you know. Never buy Shield of Regrowth over Winged Blade. Winged Blade is just better. And this item also has pretty bad stats and no good auras and anything really. It's not that good, you know. Better go Sprint Relic or Winged Blade in my opinion. Shifter Shield, you know, was also pretty decent. You get pretty good stats. The problem is, again, there's just so many better items like Gladiator Shield. It's just unbalanced item, you know, and that's the problem, you know. Like Shogun, Gladiator Shield, Atlanta Bow, a lot of these items should get nerfed a bit, you know. But no, Harris did the opposite. They actually buffed Gladiator Shield and Shogun Kuzari for some reason. We have another starter. This item good for attack speed, nothing special. Maybe for Unicorn build. Good for this Soul Eater is good for ability hunters. It's easy to stack, you know. It's really good on gods like Nidh maybe, or I don't know, maybe Shibalanki or Muzen Cap. But still not that good, I think. You know, it's like you don't get much power, you don't get attack speed, you know, you don't get penetration. So yeah. Soul River, it's pretty decent, you know, some bonus damage, but you should probably get pin or cooldown first, you know. Warflag, you know, there are two options to go in arena if you play Guardian. You can go Warflag, you know, and that's the only option. Watcher's Gift is not viable in arena. But you are better off with going Witchblade Trash. You know, Witchblade into maybe Shogun or Valor is pretty much the meta. You know, you're gonna get max cooldown, you're gonna get both protections and good auras. This item is maybe good for some specific counters, but it's not even that good. Like, nobody's gonna focus you anyway if you buy this item. And we have another. This item is good, but it's way too expensive, I think. It's really hard to proc the passive, I think. We have this item. I'm not really sure. You get magical power and physical protection, I think. It's actually, I think it's good for attack speed gods, you know. Stone of Gaia, I mean, this item has no good aura, no good stats. Yes, you get HP and you get some knock up, something. It's like, dude, you don't need this item. If you play on SPL level and if you buy any of these D tier items, you have no idea what are you doing. That's the truth, you know, because there are so many better items, you know. That's the problem with these items here. Warrior X, good for poking, I guess, but I think Warding Sigil is getting better, is a bit more is a bit better. Yeah, not sure. This, okay, whatever. Talisman, it's pretty good aura, especially if you combine it with War Flag, but not really good stats, and there are way better auras you need to buy first, you know. Antahil, Witchblade, Shogun, so on, so Virginity. Attack speed, good for attack speed gods. Another starter. Decent stats, but not that good anymore when we have Gladshield and Shogun in the game. Another, yeah, this item already. Oh, this is the upgraded version, yeah, I think. Yeah, this item is, pain is really good. Toxic Blade, I mean, you get no power, you get attack speed and pin, but flat pin is not that good in late game. Antahil is okay. Maybe in certain builds you can get this, but they're usually better picks. This item, I mean, this item, Bancroft is probably better than this item, you know. Another, you know, decent item, not many people play this. War Flag, and we have, what is this, Gem, no, not Gem of Isolation, but something else. I mean, it's okay item, but it's pretty good stats. It gets countered by Antahil, of course. But yeah, I mean, I'm getting hungry, man. But I'm really happy with this, you know, I'm really happy. I didn't, you know, it's a rainy day outside, I had to do something. I was also thinking about making a Ymir video, but I'm gonna do that in the future. So if you are still here, thank you guys for your support and keep on smiting, you know. And I hope I see you in game, man. Let's have some fun and competitive matches, you know, when Hyres actually wakes up and fix UI and give arena fans a leaderboard and rewards, make nice arena map, and make SPL less gated. So yeah, see ya and have a great day.